Good morning, fourth graders. Happy Thursday. It's kind of like a Friday, though, because it's a 4-day week this week, which means we don't have online school tomorrow. But this weekend or tomorrow is a great opportunity for those of you who just got computers this week or are maybe a little bit behind on your work this week. Tomorrow is a great day to be making up some of your missing and incomplete work, and I'll definitely be contacting some of you today to just kind of help you out with that. I know I'll be logged on tomorrow, and I'll be on the phone tomorrow helping students out if they need it. We're going to read our next chapter of Wonder. This book is so good, especially every time we get introduced to a new character. I'm so excited because I think it's adding layers to our read aloud. So yesterday we read chapter 9, and we were getting to know a little bit more about Julian and Charlotte and Jack Will. And I asked you guys for your reactions, and it was kind of like back and forth what you guys were saying. Some of you were saying that you think they're going to be mean to August, and August is like they're going to not respond well. Some of you said that August will become like really tight friends with them. A lot of you said you really, really liked the character of Charlotte because she seemed really kind to August, and some of you said that Jack Will and Julian seemed a little bit mean and you weren't really sure and that they might become enemies. So let's see what happens. We're going to continue our tour of August's new school Beecher Prep. Here we go. This chapter is called The Performance Space. Charlotte basically didn't stop talking as we headed down to the second floor. She was describing the play they had put on last year, which was Oliver. She played Oliver, even though she's a girl. And as she said this, she pushed open the double doors to a huge auditorium. At the other end of the room was a stage. Charlotte started skipping towards the stage. Julian ran after her and then turned around halfway down the aisle. "Come on," he said loudly, waving for me to follow him, which I did. "There were like hundreds of people in the audience that night," said Charlotte, "and it took me a second to realize she was still talking about Oliver. I was so nervous. I had so many lines, and I had all these songs to sing. I was so hard." Although she was talking to me, she really didn't look at me very much. On opening night, my parents were all the way in the back of the auditorium, like where Jack is right now, but when the lights are off, you can't really see that far back. And then Mr. Resnick, our theater arts teacher last year, he said, "Charlotte, stop being such a diva." And I was like, okay. And then I spotted my parents, and I was totally fine. I didn't forget a single line. While she was talking, I noticed Julian staring at me out of the corner of his eye. This is something I see people do a lot with me. They think I don't know that they're staring, but I can tell from the way their heads are tilted. I turned around to see where Jack had gone to. He had stayed in the back of the auditorium, like he was bored. "We put on a play every year," said Charlotte. "I don't think he's going to want to be in the school play, Charlotte," said Julian sarcastically. "You can be in the play without actually being in the play," Charlotte answered, looking at me. "You can do the lighting. You can paint the backdrops." "Oh, yay! Whoopee!" said Julian, twirling his finger in the air. "But you don't have to take the theater arts elective if you don't want to," Charlotte said, shrugging. "There's dance or chorus or band. There's leadership." "Only dorks take leadership," Julian interrupted. "Julian, you're being so obnoxious," said Charlotte, which made Julian laugh. "I'm taking the science elective," I said. "Cool," said Charlotte. Julian looked directly at me. "The science elective is supposedly the hardest elective of all," he said. "No offense, but you've never, ever been in school before. Why do you think you're suddenly going to be smart enough to take the science elective? I mean, have you ever even studied science before? Like real science, not like the kind you do in kits." "Yeah," I nodded. "He was homeschooled, Julian," said Charlotte. "So teachers came to his house?" asked Julian, looking puzzled. "No, his mother taught him," answered Charlotte. "Is she a teacher?" Julian said. "Is your mother a teacher?" Charlotte asked me. "No," I said. "So she's not a real teacher," said Julian, as if that proved his point. "That's what I mean. How can someone who's not a real teacher actually teach science?" "I'm sure you'll do fine," said Charlotte, looking at me. "Let's just go to the library now," Jack called out, sounding really bored. "Why's your hair so long?" Julian said to me. He sounded like he was annoyed. I didn't know what to say, so I just shrugged. "Can I ask you a question?" he said. I shrugged again. Didn't he just ask me a question? "What's the deal with your face? I mean, were you like in a fire or something?" Julian, that's so rude, said Charlotte. I'm not being rude, said Julian. I'm just asking a question. Mr. Tushman said we could ask questions if we wanted to. Not rude questions like that, said Charlotte. Besides, he was born like that. That's what Mr. Tushman said. You just weren't listening. I was so listening, said Julian. I just thought maybe he was in a fire too. Geez, Julian, said Jack. Just shut up. You shut up, Julian yelled. Come on, August, said Jack. Let's just go to the library already. I walked toward Jack and followed him out of the auditorium. He held the double doors open for me, and as I passed by, he looked at me right in the face, kind of like daring me to look back at him, which I did. Then I actually smiled. I don't know. Sometimes when I have the feeling like I'm almost crying, it can turn into an almost laughing feeling. And that must have been the feeling I was having then, because I smiled, almost like I was going to giggle. The thing is, because of the way my face is, people who don't know me very well don't always get that I'm smiling. My mouth doesn't go up at the corners the way other people's mouths do. It just goes straight across my face. But somehow, Jack Will got that I was smiling at him, and he smiled back. Julian's a jerk, he whispered before Julian and Charlotte reached us. But dude, you're gonna have to talk. He said this seriously, like he was trying to help me. I nodded as Julian and Charlotte caught up to us. We were all quiet for a second, all of us just kind of nodding, looking at the floor. Then I looked up at Julian. The words supposedly, by the way, I said. What are you talking about? You said supposedly before, I said. I did not. Yeah, you did, Charlotte nodded. You said the science elective is supposedly really hard. I heard you. I absolutely did not, he insisted. Whatever, said Jack. Let's just go. Yeah, let's just go, agreed Charlotte, following Jack down the stairs to the next floor. I started to follow her, but Julian cut right in front of me, which actually made me stumble backward. Oops. Sorry about that, said Julian. But I could tell from the way he looked at me that he wasn't really sorry at all. Fourth graders, that is such a good chapter of wonder. I feel like we got to know, hi, you want to be in the video? This is my doggy. Oh, oops, this is my doggy. Fourth graders, I feel like we got to know some of our characters like really, really well, especially Jack and Charlotte. Like we can tell a lot about Charlotte's personality and Jack's personality, but specifically we're learning a lot about Julian, and he's really, really an interesting character. So fourth graders, in the comments today, I just want you to write what your reaction to is. We're going to focus in on Julian. What kind of actions, the things that he says, his thoughts, his actions, his character traits. If you could pick one word to describe the character of Julian, based on the information you have right now, what word would you pick and why? You're going to write down one word, and then I want you to explain why you picked that word in the comments. I'm really looking forward to the words that you guys are going to choose. And fourth graders, remember, we love fourth grade vocabulary. So try to stray away from the word like bad or not nice. If you can come up with another word besides bad or not nice to really challenge your fourth grade brain. All right, fourth graders, have a great long weekend. Again, those of you that are behind on work, I'll be logged on tomorrow if you need help. And we will read the next chapter on Monday. Bye. Chandler, say bye. Bye, Chandler. Bye.